Our next question is about the tax board, and it's for everybody. Would you support a professional tax board? How can all taxes be properly collected? And we will start with Tom Trail.
Incumbent Republican Tom Trail, House Seat 6A.
Yes. I think that we take a look at some of the charges of 8 auditors in the Idaho Tax Commission who have documented proof that the State Tax Commission have cut sweetheart deals with that big out-of-state companies, maybe owing millions of dollars, that we need to professionalize the Idaho State Tax Commission, perhaps in a similar mode to that of Montana. Representative Jaquette has come out with quite a comprehensive proposal, and I think I've looked very closely at it, and I certainly would support it. We need to get to be totally accountable and transparent, and get every tax dollar we can to support education and our businesses in the state.
Judy Brown.
Democrat Judy Brown, House Seat 6A.
I assume that by professionalizing, the questioner is asking that the members of the tax board be hired rather than appointed, and I would also support that. The current problems at the tax board are one of many signs of cronyism and even corruption in our state government that is the consequence of having been so badly dominated by one-party politics for such a long time. We have a very large gap, what they call a tax gap in Idaho, of people who owe taxes but simply don't pay them. And I feel in a time like this, when communities all around Idaho, Latah County especially, are raising their property taxes, that their state government is saying to them, it's okay if you pay more property taxes, but hey, to those of you who don't want to pay your taxes, don't worry, we're not coming after you. And I think that is, it makes chumps of the rest of us, and we ought to all have the same expectations of all of our citizens. Another thing that needs to be professionalized is the revenue assessment function of the state government, so that we get accurate, reliable, credible estimates of how much revenue we're going to have for the legislature to work with.
Dan Schmidt.
Democratic candidate for Senate Dan Schmidt.
Well, I pretty much agree. It seems like transparency and openness, as well as fairness, is fundamental to taxation. There's a sense, and this was one of the things that motivated me to run for this office. I have a sense that there isn't an openness and a fairness in our government function in Boise, and that's a problem.
Gresham Bauma.
Republican candidate for Senate Gresham Bauma.
I'm mostly concerned that we do not end up, we need some way of holding whoever's doing it accountable. I think probably professionals are not a bad way to go, but somehow they have to be accountable to the taxpayers. My experience with taxing bureaucracies is you lose due process, they can make mistakes, and you pay the price. And so my primary concern is that no matter what we do, we preserve the rights of the taxpayers and the citizens themselves, and be careful not to give absolute power to any bureaucracies so that they completely trample our rights as individuals. Any of you that have dealt with the IRS understand what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Shirley Ringo.
Incumbent Democrat Shirley Ringo, House Seat 6B.
Yes, I would support that. I agree that transparency and accountability are the two big issues, but I think it is problematic when we have the individuals serving in those positions being political appointees. And we have, as someone mentioned, some 8 tax auditors, some retired and some still actively employed, who are reporting that there have been sweetheart deals given to certain well-connected individuals. One example, for example, was a $1.6 million of taxes being excused and the auditor being told to lay off. So far, I would say that the majority party is circling the wagons on this issue and refusing to deal with it. And I think people such as yourselves need to insist that we have that transparency and correct the problem. We stand to lose a potential $75 million if deals that are in the works now go through, and that could go to education and other worthwhile things.
Ike Young.
Republican Ike Young, House Seat 6B.
Well, I believe one of our founding principles is equal under the law. And absolutely, if companies are getting quote-unquote sweetheart deals, that is an unacceptable behavior for government to allow. If, company A is paying X amount of dollars in taxes, then company B needs to do the same. As far as professionalism in government is concerned, well, yeah, of course we want to have professionals in government. That goes without saying. We also want to make sure that we have people that are accountable to the true body of government, which is all of us, especially you all, and that you have the ability to get to the truth if you so desire to seek it out, which I encourage all of you to do. Thank you.